for the salute to the flag, and please remain standing for a short prayer for remembering those of 9/11. And the flag, we'll use the one right behind me.
Over here.
Where it is, oh, it should be on there, right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. New Windsor bows its head in prayer, remembering those no longer here. We ask for guidance as we wend our way, remembering that September day. As we place our faith in God above, New Windsor unites and shares its love on the events that took our measure. Teach us, O Lord, to bless the land we treasure. Thank you very much. I know, I forgot my notes. Good evening, everyone. The first order of business is a public hearing to adjourn a public hearing, proposed amendment to Chapter 300 of the Town Code of the Town of New Windsor. That's the Town Board of the Town of New Windsor hereby adjourn the public hearing to consider a proposed amendment of the zoning code of the Town of New Windsor to amend the table of use regulations to allow mini warehouses by special use permit in the neighborhood commercial zoning district until 7 p.m. October 2nd, 2019 at 555 Union Avenue, New Windsor, New York, in accordance with the resolution attached hereto. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Armstrong?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Moore?
Vote. Yes. Our next public hearing is to adjourn. No. Most public hearing on the sewer assessment roll for the year 2020. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak on this? Sir, your name, please?
Ronald Beaton. Can you explain to us what this proposal is? Because we couldn't find it online.
Okay. Well, we have with us our town assessor, Mr. Todd Wiley. He will answer any questions.
Good evening. The purpose of the adoption of the sewer assessment roll is to allow the town to charge the residents that have sewer service a tax on their town tax bill. It's an annual event. The reason we have this hearing is that it's based on a point system as opposed to based on the market value of the property. The typical one-family home is paying about $23 a year for sewer bond debt service. And that's the money the town of New Windsor borrowed over the last several decades to put the infrastructure and sewer system in place. And we charge that. We borrow money, we pay back with interest. And we charge those properties that are benefited by the sewer district a tax every year. So this is the taxpayer's opportunity to challenge it, question it, appeal it. For example, if somebody felt that we were charging them for this service and they weren't benefiting from it, they weren't in the district, tonight will be the night to question that. If they felt that we had the wrong amount of points charged to their property, because it is a point system. Tonight is the night to challenge it. We almost never have anybody here, because issues that change, new construction, demolition, fires, things of that nature, we're up on that. We get all the building permits, the demolition permits, and we adjust the roll year-round, but we officially adopt it tonight. So it's the taxpayer's opportunity to challenge it or question it. The town board would have the opportunity to review it and then.
Are the sewer assessment tax rolls published
Yes.
so that the people can, and if so, where? Because I spent today trying to find them.
Right.
But are they published? So you asked if you have a book. Are they published online or?
We have not put it online. You can certainly do that.
So,
So the people are voting on something they don't know because they haven't even reviewed it.
Oh, it's also, it is published indirectly on the regular assessment.
Oh.
where's that? I'm sorry.
That's online. Hard copies also available in my office and the assessor's office.
On the need to this process? So,
Ma'am, would you stand up, please, and
Sure.
give us your name?
sure, Amanda Livingstone, so where does the notification go out for us to even research it? Because I have no idea, it's my first time hearing about it. So how do I figure out what district I'm in? Because I pay my sewer and water bill, don't even think twice
It's
now.
not on your sewer water bill. It's
Right.
not your January county tax bill that comes out.
Okay,
There was a legal notice published, I believe it was last month, the clerk's office did that. The points are available online on the,
where is it published? So how do
it's on the
I,
town's website.
so I have to go to the website to figure out the notice? I'm trying to figure out how the communication goes out to alert me that I should pay attention to it, because I didn't get anything.
I would defer to the town clerk.
Notice is put up on the bulletin board, it's put in the local paper, in the Orange County Post as well, when Todd was referring to the notice that went out last month after the public hearing was called.
So if you don't have paper, if you don't get the paper, and you don't come inside the town
On the
office,
website, to the paper, it's on the bulletin
but
board.
there's no communication that goes out to alert me, like directly to my home.
No.
We don't send mailings out if that's what you're referring to.
Okay,
I think what she's asking is,
Ma'am, may we have your name, please, for the record?
I said it, Amanda
Oh, you said
Livingstone.
it? It's all set? Okay, thank you.
You're
I think
welcome.
what she's asking is where can she find her assessment online?
It's online on the town's website, on the homepage, the assessment roll is on there.
No, I understand that. I think what I'm asking is that as a homeowner, I have no idea this is happening because I don't get the paper and I don't come into town hall unless I need to. So I don't need to because I do everything either by mail or online. So there's nothing alerting me that this change is coming up where I can then research it, get the education.
There's no change normally.
Right, but you're asking us to vote as to whether or not we want it to happen or not officially, formally, you're adopting it. I can't do that, I don't even know what's happening. So I'm looking for some type of communication ahead of time.
And with all due respect, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but we comply with the notice requirements.
And sir, in all due respect, I'm not challenging whether or not you were complying. I'm asking because I don't know about the process,
No, I understand.
whether or not there's any communication. And what I'm clarifying is that whether or not you put it in the paper, which I don't receive, I don't have any awareness of it because I don't have access to that. That's what I was clarifying. So with all due respect, you're challenging it by becoming argumentative, by not allowing me to get the clarification I needed.
Okay, a question, Todd. Have the points changed since last year?
Sure. The average property owner does not see a change. If a one-family house is charged 10 points, okay? And that's always going to be the case. A two-family house is charged 20 points, okay? There is a schedule of points, and that's also available online on the town code.
Right,
Okay.
and I don't know about the schedule because I'm not educated on this point system. I just get my bill and I just paid it. So that's what I was asking, how can I go find it to
It's on your
educate
tax
myself?
bill. It's on the final assessment roll, and it's also here on this sewer assessment roll.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Hi, I'm
Yes, ma'am.
Erin Marie Murphy. Hi. I have exactly the same question, just because, like, I have never heard of this either. We live over on Nina Street, so I don't know how this affects me. What is it called on the bill? What is?
It's going to say sewer bond debt service.
Sewer
It's
bond.
typically $20 to $30 a year per one-family house, okay? And it's been on your bill for decades, okay? But in order for this town to charge that tax, we have to give the public an opportunity to challenge it.
Right.
And tonight is the night.
Right, well, that's what Amanda is saying, that we had no idea that it was happening, because I don't receive the paper either. I do not come in to this building at all unless it's community day and I have to use the restroom. And I've never even heard of that. So our concern here is you are changing something or asking for us to come forward and say, hey, if you're ready for, to change or to argue against something, now is the time. But how would we have known that if we didn't?
Again, like Dave mentioned, we met the statutory requirements that push in the legal notice. It's also was mentioned on the town's website.
But we could be doing better.
I understand your concern.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Maybe that's what we
Better.
But in a more perfect world, we would send a letter to everybody.
Not even in a perfect world, just suggestions of how we can better as a community communicate so that we're not having these communication struggles on a night where our homeowners who want to be involved and want to be educated, to have educated conversation, can do so. That's our struggle, is that we want to be better in our community and better relationships being formed between our town members and us, so that when we come together like this, it's not so tense or hostile. We're asking to be, we want to be involved, we want to be educated on what we're voting on, and we can't do that because you're sticking with that, we're complying with a law that talks about print paper that's potentially going out of business. Like, we have to be
I
better.
understand your concern.
We have to be better.
Todd, if I can
We
interrupt
want
for a
it. We wanna
minute,
give
I would like to ask the two
money.
people in the public who've been speaking, have your houses changed in the last year? Have they burned down to the ground? Have you added something to it, or have you rebuilt the house?
No.
If not, Todd, is it correct to say that the number of points for the sewer charge will be the same?
Correct.
So therefore, your tax, your charge is not going to be the same. I'm done.
It-
It is going to be the same.
Well, so again, and what Amanda's saying, we want to give you money so that way our town and our sewers and everything run the way they should. We want our communities to be amazing and a great place to grow up and live and be together. But we can't do that if we don't talk to one another. So this is the first time many of us probably are hearing about any of this, which again, we just pay willingly because it's on the bill and it hasn't changed in decades, that's fine. But how can we
How do we
give you
know
our
it's-
opinion
Right.
or say yes or no, we do not like something if we don't even know it's happening because the old way or the current way is a way that is now getting pushed out of how the world communicates. That's what we are saying. We're just giving our opinion, which is what you've asked for. So yes, we're going to pay. Yes, now we will be looking at that bill come January. Yes, I will be talking with my husband about this.
All right, ma'am.
Thank you.
Two things I was going to work towards, and that was, okay, so you're going to pass this law, and it's going to have a dollar amount assigned to the assessments. The next two items we're going to be talking about, do those involve bonds or any monies that will increase the assessment? You have two public hearings regarding
Right.
District 1718. Are there bonds that will increase the assessment? Very simple.
The answer is yes, there are bonds, whether or not it's going to increase the assessment, that's not something that I could address, perhaps either Todd and or the comptroller could.
With respect to sewers, District 17, 18.
And 18, that's the
They'll
next,
be putting in that only affect those two districts.
the people living in them.
Fixing the sewer line that runs along Clark Street that's down here.
But that's us. So we need to know.
How do we figure out what district
Well,
we're in?
we'll not make sure.
Okay, just a minute, if I might just point a word. You've got to let me answer.
Yeah.
You've got to have,
Sir, I have to close one to go on to this.
okay, but I asked a question, he was answering,
17 and 18.
and they were interrupting, I'm just saying.
All right, go ahead.
John, you need, I want to hear what you're saying, that's all.
Sure.
So I'm just listening.
As I said,
Can I
the
speak
sewer
up so we
main
can
will run
hear?
along Clarkview, that's the one that's going to be replaced. The engineer from Building Housing Pencil was here, he can add something to it. It's expected to cost approximately $1.6 million to replace it. We've got a grant application in there to cover approximately $400,000 of it. That'll leave a balance if, when the bids come in, approximately $1.2 million. We'll probably be doing the short-term, issue short-term debt until the project is completed. And then we'll make a decision as to whether or not we go with a long-term bond for sewer district 17, 18, and nobody else in the other district will be affected by it.
Doesn't 17 still have two open bonds of 1.75 million and 1.6 million? It's on registered with the state of New York.
I'm not quite sure which districts have bonds outstanding.
That's what's on the state of New York, that's
Well,
what
I
I'm saying.
would have to look at it, so that's the answer to the question.
All right, we're going to move on here. I'm going to close the public hearing on the proposed sewer. That the town board of the town of New Windsor close the public hearing in the manner of the proposed sewer assessor roll for the year 2020. Motion,
Move. Second.
roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstedt?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Moore?
Yes. A motion that the town board of the town of New Windsor adopt the sewer assessor roll for the year 2020 and the town clerk be authorized to advertise same as required by law. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstedt?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Our next item, to reconvene the public hearing for the proposed increase and improvement of facilities at Sewer District 17. That the town board of the town of Windsor close the public.
You have to open.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to open it. Right. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on Sewer District 17?
What is that? What is?
Mrs.
So where is,
Ma'am?
that's the Clarksview area you're talking about?
Can we have your name,
Hi,
please?
I'm Carolyn Thorne, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you.
Super. So is that the Clarksview section that you're speaking about, 17?
Oh, we have the engineer here from the Kelly House, and that's Mr. Arnott.
So yes. So yes or no?
Can I explain the project first?
Sure, but I just asked a simple question.
Okay, what's the question?
Is it the Clarksview, the 17 the Clarksview area?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So is there any problem with our sewage at this point in this area? Why do we have
There
to
is.
build it
We're not
bigger?
building, we're resizing and replacing the main. Currently, there is 8-inch sewer main that runs in the area. In 2017, due to infiltration and inflow problems, the sewer overflowed into Washington Lake on at least 2 occasions. And therefore, we are proposing the replacement of the 8-inch main with 10-inch main. It's approximately 3,000 linear feet, about 12 manholes to be replaced, and approximately 20 sewer service connections to be replaced and connected to the new line.
That's the new line that's going to go through Stonegate?
No.
Okay. Are we expanding this to help the
No,
Stonegate?
this is just a simple replacement of the existing, upsizing, and to increase the capacity in the area.
So why did it overflow?
Because it's too small, there's not enough capacity for the sewer to, so it overflowed over the manholes, or out of the manholes.
What was that, because water that came in?
Right, so infiltration due to high groundwater, inflow due to potential, some pumps that are connected illicitly to the sewer, et cetera.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hold on.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Mrs. Santiago?
Thank you. Yes, Sylvia Santiago. I just have a question. You're having a public hearing, you're talking about increasing the facilities, and I know you just mentioned this thing again, about $2 million. I just don't understand why the cost wasn't stated before as you issued these public hearings when I believe you got text alerts or whatever, again, going back to informing the public. And again, my beef is that the agenda, your motions or any backup is posted online, so no one can even review the agenda to come talk about anything. And again, most importantly, this public hearing did not mention the almost $2 million cost to it.
Thank you.
Advertising in the newspaper.
Are we,
I'm almost certainly there.
the town clerk has just given me
That's the affidavit.
an affidavit from the Pope about the public hearing that was in the paper on August 9th.
I'm sorry, can you confirm which paper that was?
Orange County Post,
Orange County Post.
Orange County Post, thank you.
and it doesn't have to be a minute.
And it does
Like, where do they even sell it?
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay, that's the town board of the town of New Windsor closed the public hearing in the matter concerning the increase and improvements of facilities of Sewer District 17. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Our next item would be another public hearing.
This is
It's
the
a-
option.
the adoption, I'm sorry, I need to adopt the motion. That the town board of the town of New Windsor hereby authorize the adoption of a resolution in order for the increase and improvement of facilities of Sewer District 17 in accordance with the resolution and order attached hereto. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Moore?
Yes. And now our third public hearing. Okay, is there anyone that wishes to speak on Sewer District 18?
Again, I'd like to ask, what is the cost for this increase in improvement of facilities?
It's
John,
these two are together.
They're together? So,
There's two districts involved. 18 also flows into that sewer line around the wall in front of you. So there are two sewer districts involved.
so the
Can you speak
two,
up? We can't hear you. I'm sorry.
If I may interrupt, I do have it in legal.
Yeah, it's sewer district 17.
whether you had it in there, I'm asking the question which I'm entitled to do. Because the
Can I
people
read
here
it?
obviously
Yeah.
don't know, so, you know,
I'm going to allow the town clerk to read the legal ad.
if you would, that'd be great. That'd
This
be wonderful.
advertisement was put in the Orange County Post. It is the official newspaper of the town of New Windsor.
No, it's not.
Funny as it may be, New York state law dictates if a town, city, or village has a newspaper within their boundaries, they must choose that as their town newspaper. For those of you that don't know, several years ago, prior administration decided to do away with then the Sentinel. Federal lawsuit, the town lost. The Sentinel was brought back. They have now changed her name to the Orange County Post. That's the reason we use that paper.
We're asking why you're using it.
Sewer District 17 amount is $1,417,000. Sewer District 18, $183,000.
And these, back over to the engineer, the combined of 17 and 18, are these in any way related to the Stonegate proposal?
Not that I'm aware.
No.
So are we going to be having to have another hearing about expanding further sewer facilities if the Stonegate proposal goes through?
The Stonegate proposal is currently before the planning board,
Correct.
which is meeting at the senior center.
Correct. But there's another issue that we're having two different sets of public hearings at two different locations on the same evening, and even worse on 9/11, which I'm very offended at. As a survivor and as having someone who lost 267 people that day. I think it's egregious.
Well, this is democracy at its best.
No,
Sorry.
I hate to say it, but I think it's deplorable that we as a town would hold a hearing on 9/11.
But what better way to show?
We
beg your pardon?
Were you down at the Trade Center at 9/11?
We all lived through it.
Were you there?
No, but people I know were there.
I think the bottom line is that we could be doing better. Look how hostile this is right now.
No.
Yeah, but this is
the
not-
way you people are.
No,
This
you're
is not about
They're
9/11.
your constituents.
You just want
Please.
children. We
So-
pay taxes to live
Okay,
in
this
this
is
town.
curfew.
So I just want to be clear. We have 1.4 million on 17 and 183,000
On 18.
on 18. Thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Sorry, another.
Ma'am?
Maureen Murphy, my other question, how do we figure out which district, okay, I know we said 17 was Clarksview area. What is 18? Where's that?
Clarkfield, also Clarkfield.
I believe the sewer maps are located on the county website.
Do you know, like, for, so you
I'm
believe
100% positive.
So how can we figure that? If he doesn't know,
No,
where
I,
do we know?
the map on the website, I'm not exactly, can't tell you exactly.
Oh, you don't know the
line
exact website, but you know it is.
On the town website. If you Google it, Town in Windsor, their GIS page, the sewer district maps are located on that website.
Anyone else before I close? The town board, Town of New Windsor, closed the public hearing in the matter of considering the increase and improvements of facilities of sewer district number 18. Motion, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes.
That's the name.
About another motion, that the town board of the town of New Windsor hereby authorize the adoption of a resolution in order for the increase and improvement of facilities of sewer district number 18 in accordance with the resolution and order attached hereto. Motion, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Moore? Need a vote? We need a vote.
Yes. Motion authorizing the adoption. That's the town board of the town of New Windsor hereby authorize the adoption of a bond resolution for the issuance of serial bonds not to exceed $1,600,000 for the increase and improvements of facilities of sewer district number 17 and 18, Clarkview Sewer Main Replacement Project, in accordance with the bond resolution attached hereto. Motion, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy
Yes.
Supervisor Moore?
Our next item is public comments. Is there anyone wishing to speak on anything on tonight's agenda? On the agenda only. Sir, your name?
Should I lift my seat or come up?
You can do
Right
whatever
there.
My name is Mark Raphael, and it's agenda item number 8. I own an office building at 121 Executive Drive and 117 Executive Drive. Those buildings, I found out, have been, the zoning was changed at some point after I purchased the buildings to planned industrial. And these are office buildings. They are not in that zone of a planned industrial. And I have a tenant who wants to rent space. I have a vacancy on the first floor, 6,800 square feet. Abilities First. And we met with the town engineer, Mark Ketzel, and he recommended that we get the zoning for these particular parcels, because there's an office building on the corner, which is highway commercial, and then our two buildings are also office buildings, but they're in planned industrial. So we were told that in order to be able to rent to the Abilities First group, we would need to get the zoning changed to highway commercial, which would allow us the ability to have them occupy the space. So that's why this was brought before you. And I believe that it was highway commercial before, and we're asking that it be, that this be carved out and included with the building on the corner of 103.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Ma'am?
Darcy Windsor with Abilities First. Also speaking about agenda item number 8, I'm the Director of the Program Development.
Okay.
And just very briefly to remind the board, we were asked, most of our services were in Dutchess County, established since 1962. We were asked in 2017 to open a school for disabled children, which we did do with the old Devitt's Barn on Route 51, Windsor Highway. So further, because that was so successful and the children with disabilities need the services, we then expanded a preschool in Cornwall, which we've been told by the current owner of the Archdiocese that they will no longer allow us to stay in that school. So we did approach Mr. Raphael regarding his property, which would need very minimal fit up for the 40 students that could relocate here. And we've actually been approached by Orange County, all of their child services, indicating that they have additional 3- and 4-year-olds and integrated children for preschool services in great need. So I just wanted to express that and be able to indicate that we are ready, willing, and able to support this population in the community.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. All right. Mrs. Cynthia?
Thank you. I have a question. For the past 3 months, we've been voting on to allow the supervisor to execute. Supervisor obviously has not been here for the past 3 months, so my question is, who is authorizing, who is signing documentation, who's executing contracts on our behalf, on the town's behalf?
Well, I am the deputy supervisor.
She was the deputy, so you're signing everything.
The
All right, for the
supervisor.
past 3 months.
Supervisor has
The supervisor has been signing.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, next item in the minutes, that's the town board of the town of New Windsor approve the minutes of the town board meeting held on August 7th, 2019, and the opening and adjournment of the public hearing regarding a proposed amendment of Chapter 300 zoning local law on the same date, as well as the minutes of public hearings opened and recessed on September 4th, 2019, regarding the proposed 2020 sewer assessment roll, the increase and improvements of facilities on Sewer District 17, Clarkview Sewer Main Replacement Project, and the proposed increase and improvement of facilities on Sewer District number 18, Clarkview Sewer Main Replacement Project, as per the copies posted on the town clerk's bulletin board in the town hall and same distributed to each of the town board members. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Moreau?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Monster?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. Our next item. That the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Orange County Department of Public Works for snow and ice control on certain county roads for the 2019-2020 season. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Moreau?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Monster?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Wood?
Yes. Another motion that the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to execute an intermunicipal water supply agreement between the town of New Windsor and the city of Newburgh as recommended by the town attorney. Motion?
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Moreau?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Monster?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. Another motion? That the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to execute an amendment of cooperative agreement between New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and the town of New Windsor to extend the term of the agreement to September 30th, 2020. Motion, please.
Move.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Munster?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. Receive and file, Lake Street Water Interconnect. Hearing no objection, the town board of the town of New Windsor receive and file letter agreement between the board of directors of Motorcyclopedia and the town of New Windsor dated August 26, 2019 for temporary installation of an electric pump, piping, and related equipment in connection with the upgrade of the Lake Street Water Interconnect. Our next item is a motion of supported grant application that the town board of the town of New Windsor hereby support the application for New York State Water Infrastructure Improvement Act Clean Water Grant for the Clarkview Road Sewer Main Replacement Project, and hereby authorize the submission of a grant application for same, and further authorize the supervisor to accept any award under this grant application and execute any and all documents to effectuate the application for an award of same grant in accordance with the resolution attached here to. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Munster?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. A motion for Clarkview Sewer Main Replacement Project. That's the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement for professional services with McGoey, Hauser, and Etzel Consulting Engineers, DPC, in the amount not to exceed $325,000 in connection with the Clarkview Sewer Main Replacement Project. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Munster?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. Receive and file, amending the zoning code and map. Hearing no objection, the town board of the town of New Windsor receive and file a petition dated August 5th, 2019, entitled, "In the matter of the petition of Poughkeepsie Properties, LLC, for the amendment of the zoning map of the town of New Windsor, Orange County, New York, to change the zoning classification of the properties designated to the town of New Windsor, tax map as SBL 4-3-27 and 4-3-28 from IP Planning Industrial to HC Highway Commercial. A motion calling for a public hearing. That the town board of the town of New Windsor call a public hearing to consider a proposed local law to amend Chapter 300 of the Town Code of the town of New Windsor, to be held November 6, 2019, at Town of New Windsor Town Hall, 555 Union Avenue, New Windsor, New York, at 7:00 p.m. in accordance with the resolution attached here too, and that the notice of same is directed to be given by publication and posting. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Rickenbaugh?
Yes.
Councilman Lindstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. Receive and file. Hearing no objection, the town board of the town of New Windsor receive and file sealed bids received and publicly opened on September 5, 2019 at 2 p.m. for the town hall generator project. Motion that the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to award a contract for the installation of a standby generator at Town Hall to GenTech LLD in accordance with General Municipal Law, Section 103, parentheses 4, and as recommended by McGoey, Hauser, and Etzel Consulting Engineers, DPC, in the attached correspondence. Motion?
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Rickenbaugh?
Yes.
Councilman Lindstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Witt?
Yes. A motion for a reappointment that the town board of the town of New Windsor reappoint Gregory T. Gaetano of 68 Hudson Drive, New Windsor, New York, to the town of New Windsor Assessment Board of Review. Term shall begin immediately and expire September 30th, 2024. Motion?
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Rickenbaugh?
Yes.
Councilman Lindstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Witt?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Hi, and so.
A motion, an agreement to certificate of allocation, Lafayette Ridge Apartment. That's the town board of the town of New Windsor hereby authorize supervisor to execute an agreement between town of New Windsor, Mid-Hudson, to Holding Company, Inc., Excalibur 7, and Autumn Sky Development Company, Inc., regarding the allocation of 14,560 GPD Majestic Sanitation Sewer Capacity to service Lafayette Ridge Apartments, a proposed 62-unit development project identified on the town of New Windsor tax map as LSBL 48-2-5, SBL 48-2-7, and SBL 81-1-2, together with a consent of certificate of allocation concerning the same. Motion?
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Rickenbaugh?
Yes.
Councilman Lindstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Witt?
Yes. Another motion to execute a community development grant. That the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to execute a community development block grant agreement between the town of New Windsor and the county of Orange for update and improvements of public draining facilities in connection with the Stonecrest Drive, Hilltop Drive draining improvement projects. CDBG FY 2019. Motion?
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Rickenbaugh?
Yes.
Councilman Lindstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Witt?
Yes. A receive and file an amended contract. Hearing no objection, the town board of the town of New Windsor receive and file amended contract of sale dated August 13, 2019, between the town of New Windsor and SDC New Windsor Realty LLC for the sale of 112 plus minus acres of town-owned property at Stewart International Airport, SBL 91-1-2 and SBL 91-1-9.
Move.
That was a receive and
Oh, I'm
file.
sorry.
A motion, New York State Department of Transportation poll attachments. That the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to execute the attached undertaking for the benefit of New York State Department of Transportation in connection with the installation of security cameras, license plate readers, and related equipment, pole attachments upon utility poles located within New York State right-of-way. Motion,
Move. Second.
roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. A motion calling for a public hearing, that the town board of the town of New Windsor call a public hearing to be held on October 2nd, 2019 at 7 p.m. in Town Hall, 555 Union Avenue, New Windsor, New York, and authorize the town clerk to advertise for same pursuant to law regarding the proposed local law to override the tax levy limit established in the general municipal law section 2C-5. Motion,
Move. Second.
roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Moore?
Yes. To receive and file a memorandum of agreement. Hearing no objection, the town board of the town of New Windsor receive and file memorandum of agreement between the town of New Windsor and the Police Benevolent Association of New Windsor, New York, Inc., amending section IVD of the collective bargaining agreement dated January 3, 2019. Another receive and file, an environment easement, Avery Dennison. Hearing no objection, the town board of the town of New Windsor receive and file environmental easement from Avery Dennison Corporation to the people of the state of New York, acting through their commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation, dated July 17th, 2019, and recorded in the Orange County Clerk's Office on the 8th day of August, 2019, in Liber 14606 at page 1438 for property identified on the town of New Windsor tax map as section 9, block 1, lot 52, and commonly known as 15-21 Rachetti Road, New Windsor, New York. A motion, an agreement regarding a lease, that the town board of the town of New Windsor authorize the supervisor to execute, consent, an agreement regarding lease for property commonly known as 500 Hudson Valley Avenue, New Windsor, New York, and further identified on the town of New Windsor tax map as section 3, block 1, lot 54-2. Motion, please.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Regenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Lundstrom?
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor?
Yes. The official reports. Town clerk, month of August 2019. Tax receiver, water, sewer, garbage, month of August 2019. Justice Court, George Myers, month of August 2019. Justice Court, Noreen Calderon, month of August 2019. Recreation Department, month of August 2019. I will now open it up for a public forum. Tom?
Yes, I don't know if the town could do anything about this, but I think on every pole and every street sign, there's this lost dog signs all over the town of New Windsor, all over down by Monroe, in Middletown. I've seen it in Middletown, and it had a phone number on it there. I ended up calling the phone number. Initially, they didn't answer. I work for the utility company, and it's against the law to put anything on a telephone pole or a utility pole. I finally got through to this guy, and I asked him if he had permission from the town of New Windsor to put any signs up, and he says, I don't need any permission. So it was just like a sarcastic, either this dog is gold-plated, or I don't know why he didn't put one of those chips in his collar or his neck, or give a reward to the thing here. But they're all over the place. And in Butter Hill, I've been taking them down. I'm just throwing them away. But I mean, it's totally ridiculous.
Central Hudson would have to complain to us.
All right, there's your answer. Central Hudson would have to
Central Hudson
complain.
would have to complain to us about it.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Because I know Orange and Rockland is central.
so up here at Central Hudson, they would have to make, I'm sure one of their utility workers will probably complain one of these days when it gets in the way of climbing a pole.
Yeah, actually, anything on a pole is not allowed.
Right. We'll start getting in their way and they'll make a complaint.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Can I come up here?
Yeah.
I'm Carolyn Thorne. I just want to grab a quick here. So, I'm sure you have some by a shirt for Stop EP Stonegate. So, first off, I'd like to say thank you, Pat, Steve, and Mr. Regenbaum, Andrew, for returning my phone call. We spent some quality time on the phone discussing the Stonegate. Unfortunately, Mr. Lundstrom didn't get back. So, one of the reasons we're coming to the town council tonight is because I've spoken with all of you, and you know that there's a big concern about this Stonegate project. And also, I spoke with Colin Schmidt, and Colin Schmidt told me to take it to the town council because you folks have the last say on everything. So I'm here to speak to all of you about our concerns. I'm going to read because I can ramble. I'm a little nervous. I'm used to public speaking. I'm used to teaching nurses, not talking in front of people behind big desks like that. Okay? So, good evening. I better put my glasses on. Tonight I'm here to request a halt to this Scheibel DP Stonegate project. The Stonegate modification extension filed on July 12, 2018 should be an entirely new application starting from square one. You ask why? Well, this project has a number of outstanding issues. This project has gone from one developer, Little Britain Development Company, LLC, owned by Tony Fine, to after 9 years and 4 years of extensions, Mr. Fine sells the property to Diversified Properties, or Nicholas Manoia, after Mr. Manoia was approached by the town's administration to take the project over. Enter John Lease and Scheibel Family LLC. The groups together apply for Stonegate modification extension, and these are entirely new developers. It's not the same project. The original project was 84 senior housing units on a total of 9.08 acres. It comprised of 81 senior units and 3 affordable housing units, 24 one-bedroom and 62 bedroom units, 2 buildings, and 168 parking spaces. all built on planned industrial zone property, which had a senior housing use permit overlay to the project. The new project is 24.87 acres, not 9.0 acres. The proposed units are 172, not 84. I don't know the breakdown of the type of units. However, at the planning board meeting, it was discussed to increase the number of 2-bedroom apartments in the original plan. And a total of 9 buildings, not 2 senior housing units, a far cry from what was originally proposed, and 106 parking spaces. It's not the same project. The original project was compatible with surrounding land use, not markedly increasing its density in the area or disrupting the scenic views or the market value of the homes. The new project is not compatible with the surrounding land use. Properties bordering this project on Nina and McNary Avenue are single-family homes. Currently, the view from their backyards is wooded acres. Let's discuss the character of the neighborhood. The homes bordering the project, they are just that, homes. Families bought and own their homes. Their property they care for, and they respect their neighbors. We live here. We own here. We raise our families here. If we look at the pictures here, you will see the backyards of our neighborhood. This is currently what our backyards look like. The top pictures. With the new stone bank modification, the view 100 feet from our property line will be 9 unattractive 3-story multifamily dwellings. These dwellings will be visible to homes as far away as 500 feet. So the properties that are immediately bordering this project will not only be affected, others will be too. Beyond that, the increase of rental density can drop property values as much as 14%, a true burden to this community both in character and value. And I'd like to show you the proposed buildings that they're going to put up on the bottom. We moved up here from the city. I don't want to look at projects off of my deck, and I don't think you would either. Finally, why is this project, why should it be halted? Well, this is to be built on land that is zoned, the zoning is being disputed. The original zoning, and I'll start by saying with this, I'm going off my thing a little bit here. We went to a planning board, the last planning board, and one of the young ladies out here asked if there was like a risk management or some way we could look up this information easily. And we were told there was this book and there was that book, and go online. You need to do your research. So we did. We started pulling foils. We started getting information, a lot of information. So on September 7th, 2016, Supervisor Green called to order a public hearing to amend a law entitled Zoning Local Law. At this meeting, the senior citizen and workforce zoning laws were repealed. This project is being built on a senior citizen special use permit. As stated by Veronica McMillan, Esquire, returning the zoning to what it was before. So this is 2016. Yes. This is your zoning map from 2012. That property was previously planned industrial. It was not multifamily use. So recently, on February 7, 2018, the zoning law and map were changed under the guise of a zoning error. A vote was called to correct the errors, but there weren't any errors associated with this land. The property was changed to multifamily and R5 zoning. There's a difference between correcting errors and changing laws and maps. Likely to, this was done, or definitely a question of ethics at minimum, and absolutely an underhanded act. lightly to manipulate the law to clear a path for this project, since the only property changed in that area were the 3 properties associated with this, the Scheibel LLC, John Lease, and Diversified Properties. By the way, yes, the Scheibel family is the one that is closely associated with the town of New Windsor. There are so many other issues to address, including a difference in impact on traffic, public services, aesthetic use, and of course, character of our neighborhood. The community does not support this development. As you can see, many of us have showed up tonight. By the way, I also have a petition here of over 90 names. And this was just done in 2 weekends. I think it had been turned into the town. I'm not sure for sure. It's here somewhere. All right, I'm not good with papers, but we have it. The community does not support the development. We are asking the board members to support us and review this information. The troubling changes in the zoning law, the detrimental effect to our character and value of the bordering community. This is not a modification, it's a new project, requiring an application that starts from square one, not piggybacking off of an existing old project. And maybe moving forward on properties whose zoning was changed in error. We would ask that you would take a hard look at this, halt this project at this point, and review some of the points that we've made here tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Flynn. Anyone else? Sir?
My name is Grant Miller. I'm a homeowner at 27 Hilltop Drive, and I'm here to comment on the Stonecrest Drive Hilltop Drive drainage project. I wish to publicly voice my opposition to this project, especially the storm sewer drain pipe that will be installed from Stonecrest to Hilltop, as my property, family, and neighbors will be extremely impacted by it. This project will result in the destruction of my 9-year-old autistic son's play area. It will also result in the death of his favorite tree, a 60-foot tall, 80-year-old maple. It will also result in the destruction of my neighbor's 20-foot maple, and will possibly also impact my other neighbor, Barbara, right next to me here, her 40-foot maple. It should be noted this project is being undertaken solely to alleviate flooding on a single Stonecrest Drive property owner's front lawn and curbside, which occurs only after heavy rains. It should also be noted that a meeting was held in my backyard on July 15th at 10 a.m., attended by my family and affected neighbors, an engineer from the project planning firm, and the town attorney, during which we were assured that we'd be notified of all upcoming meetings, kept informed of the project status, and that alternatives would be explored. 3 days later, the town board met in an unpublicized session and approved the project as is. The entire project has been undertaken with no prior notice and little chance for public comment. Given the facts as stated, I urge the town of New Windsor to review alternative means for alleviating the occasional flooding and strongly oppose the Stonecrest Drive, Hilltop Drive drainage project as currently planned. I wish to submit the following documents to the board in support of my request. A letter of support from State Senator James Skoufis, a letter outlining adverse impacts on my son written by his after-school program director, and a petition signed by 56 fellow citizens in my neighborhood. Thank you for your attention.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How many people are
In my neighborhood?
Yeah, I'm trying to get an idea of the 56, how much is it?
I went up and down, me and my son went up and down Hilltop, around Windsor, Sunset, Lucas, and Veronica, or whatever the side streets down there. I could have done more if I had more time.
Are all of those, if you know, affected by where the drainage project goes?
No, they're not. They're just concerned that a project is being done in this manner.
Right. So where the drainage just goes on the one block, Stonecrest and Hilltop?
Yes. Through the proposed project is running through a neighbor on Stonecrest, through his yard, through my yard, alongside the property line between my house and my neighbor's house, and then tying into Hilltop Drive. That's the planned project.
Okay.
What number are you, Mr. Grant?
I'm at 27 27 Hilltop.
Yeah.
Stick around after.
And I have copies of everything.
Okay, we leave them with,
With whom?
well, we can take them. Take them here. Thank you. There's some staples.
I found the position.
Oh, okay.
Can I give that to you?
Yeah. Yes, you want to speak, second?
Yeah, I'm Lil Grant, and I'm pretty sad that they're gonna kill down my 60-foot maple tree. And also I nicknamed him Mr. Tree because he's like an 80-year-old, 60-foot, and I'm sad that they're gonna kill my tree. They'll be like, oh, what just happened?
Well, thank you for coming tonight and speaking.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Nozier, and I live at 29 Hilltop Drive. I'm Grant's next door neighbor. And recently, my neighbors and I learned about a rainwater drainage system that's going to be placed from Stonecrest to Hilltop Drive. The route of this project cuts through several backyards. I have a very large maple tree in the corner of my property, and the root system extends into the adjoining yards. This tree provides privacy, shade, beauty, and a breeze on a hot summer day. The tree also shields the yards from heat and has environmental benefits. There is no guarantee the tree would not die if construction ensues, even with moving construction further from the root system. An arborist stated it could take a couple of years to die. There has been no answer to my question of who will be responsible to damage to the tree or the property, or who would pay for removal of the tree if it falls or it dies as a result of this project. The drainage system should not be placed through the backyards we all work so hard to keep and destroy the beauty of our area. Thank you.
My name is George Chesson. I live on policy. When I first found out about the zoning change on the 28 project, I wrote a letter earlier this year to all town board members and to the supervisor, asking that the town, I commented on the increased density and traffic. And I basically asked the town to please take into consideration making zoning changes with this density and traffic. I never received a response to those letters. I'm disturbed by that. Since then, I looked up, our neighborhood is totally surrounded by rental units. The old airport, the housing, the military housing, there are 441 rental units up there. There are 300 rental units on George Green Drive. There's going to be 300 more, whatever it's called. The Stonegate, Mansion Ridge, okay. Now, just George Green Drive, there's like 1,500 more units. That's like almost 3,000 cars. So I looked it up. Supposedly it's 1.6 or 1, I don't know what it is, single family, multi-family. We're surrounded. The traffic around here is abominable. Sometimes the traffic backs up to Masson's Deli, and you go there and you look. I'll take photos if you want. It backs up almost to the Purple Heart Hall on. Not often, but it backs up. The 5 corners is a joke. Okay, going west on Union Avenue certain times of day. It's got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Santiago?
Thank you again. There's been some news in the paper recently regarding, well, actually for the past few months, regarding sewage treatment increase in possibly in Windsor via the county. I wanted to know, has the county contacted the town at all? Are you guys involved in any of those discussions?
I didn't hear the beginning of your question. What was it?
There has been talk, reports regarding the sewage treatment, possibly in New Windsor.
Sewer treatment?
Sewage treatment. So I want to know, has the county spoken with the town at all? Is the town involved in any of those discussions?
The county, as far as I know, was not in contact with the town with regard to that project, but we have too, obviously learned about it over the course of the last couple of months now. I saw it for the first time in the paper, what was it, a month and a half ago, I don't know, something along those lines. What I do know is that our town engineers are now on notice of the talk anyway about this project, and they have been in touch with the county, and I think are going to attend a meeting that's coming up in the near future. I'm not sure exactly when, to find out more about the project.
Okay, thank you.
Yes?
Hi, my name is Kelly Allegra. Last month at the August town meeting, we took over as well for when the town supervisor was absent. And Ms. Santiago asked you if the town would be paying any outside attorney fees for public officials that were subpoenaed in the federal grand jury. And at the time, you looked very surprised, and there was some discussion between you and the clerk, Debbie Green, who said no. Subsequently, we've received several FOILs. This is in relation to, as far back as 2016, legal services for the demolition of buildings at Stewart Airport. 10 back, which I know you're all aware of because you would have had to be voted on that in 2015 in order for the contractor to come in and pull down those 10 barricades. Those 10 barricades apparently had asbestos, and that's what the claim is about. But the comment that was asked again was if the town would be paying any outside attorney fees. The 3 FOILs that I received, one of them for Attorney Donald Frederick, amounted to about $48,000 that the town was paying for legal services for this asbestos case. There is in those documents statements that refer to grand jury testimony by Regenbaum, by Councilman Lundstrom. At the time that you were questioned by Ms. Santiago, you acted very surprised, as I said before, that you didn't understand what was going on. These documents clearly show that you're all aware of them. We've been paying a very large amount of attorney fees for this case. In addition, there's Jimmy Petro, who was a former, I don't know the exact title, planner for the town. Attorney by the name of Burke. There's roughly about another $9,000 of attorney fees being paid as far back as 2016 for his case. And today I received another FOIL for a separate attorney, Carrie Lawrence, who I haven't gone through yet, but also I can see by scanning the document that there are thousands of dollars. So there's an outstanding case going on. We're paying $60,000 or more to represent town officials who were subpoenaed by a federal grand jury. Ms. Santiago came in front of you last month in August at the town board meeting and asked you if you were aware of it and we were doing it, and it is on tape that it was, you stated no. So I wanted to share that again for the record. I think we all expect from our town representatives for them to communicate the information. I know there are things in these documents that need to be redacted for confidentiality, certain names that I imagine perhaps the town supervisor or others, I don't know, because that information is redacted. One would assume that's probably the case because those are the officials who have to vote on it here. So again, that information is redacted. I don't know that. But it is the town board's responsibility to answer the question and answer it accurately. And I just wanted to share that. I'm disappointed again that they did that, and you can refer to last month's town board meeting to see the response.
I'll comment comment on that because, first of all, what you said there was inaccurate. So if you want to show me a document that says I appeared for or ever answered a question before the U.S. attorney or a grand jury, I'd like to see it because I can tell you right now on the camera that I have not, nor have I ever been asked to answer a question before the grand jury. So whatever you just said with my name is patently false. That being said, the town has a duty as a town to represent any of its employees or board members or elected officials with regard to anything that comes up legally. And that's under the town law and the town code. Should something come up where that is taken further, and perhaps if a grand jury were to indict somebody or there would be some sort of criminal proceeding, then the town no longer provides representation or pays for representation for any of those employees or elected officials. But until such time, anybody working within the town, you would expect that a town would provide representation for its employees and officials because of the numerous amounts of litigation, frivolous litigation often, that comes about as being in these positions. And you as someone who's running for an elected official should appreciate that.
Yes.
But what I'm saying to you is that had you at least asked me, I would have told you that if such a thing was going on and we were aware of it, it would be expected. Now, with regards to, again, your comment as to me in particular, I can tell you for a fact that I have no involvement in that investigation, and I have not been involved in it. And if my name is in it, I'd like you to show me where.
There is, I have a 69-page document.
Show it to
There
me.
is, yes, I have it. Debbie has the foil.
Show it to
But
me.
my point also is that we're spending $60,000 or more on an asbestos case, and Ms. Santiago asked the question if we were representing an employee, and we were told no. You were also at this meeting, so if you felt that there's something that needed to be clarified, that the deputy didn't explain properly.
I did. If you watch that tape, I said that there was representation provided by the town. The question wasn't directed to me, but you watch that again, and I was nodding, yes, there was.
You were nodding? Okay.
May I clarify too that the speculation on the action?
Yes.
Mrs. Allegra, if I may, I'm going to clarify your speculations on the redactions. Just like Councilman Regenbaum, Supervisor George Green has never been subpoenaed to the grand jury. Redactions are there, absolutely. Your speculation could not be further than wrong. Never.
Madam Chairwoman,
Stick to the facts.
also, if I may state, Mr. Legger, your allegations also regarding myself are false. I have never been called upon to appear or testify before the grand jury.
So we guess we answered all your questions, Mr. Slinger.
Just one more question.
Yes.
Do you know if there is a grand jury, I'm sorry, do you know if there is a grand jury currently investigating George Green or any elected officials here? Would you know that?
Well, there is a grand jury, but it's not.
Is there a grand jury currently that is investigating any elected officials in the town of New Windsor?
All right, our attorney will answer this.
The only thing that I could tell you that I'm aware of is the fact that there is an investigation with regard to the demolition of the buildings over at Stewart Airport. Whether or not it pertains to any individual, we don't know. We haven't received any notice of that, but I couldn't speculate as to what other investigations might be going on. I can only tell you what I do know.
Thank you. Barney, you had something?
Yeah, I have a question regarding, this is off the subject of most of the participants here, regarding the Kroll well. I spoke to our attorney and asked him for some information regarding information that was on the website that says we're currently using as our drinking water, Catskill Aqueduct water, and water from the Kroll wells has been passed through an activated charcoal filtration system. I had asked the attorney if it was possible, and I'm sure that the information is available, if he could publish, being that we're drinking this water, if he could publish the test results of before it went into the water, before it went into the activated charcoal system and after it came out, so we could determine for ourselves the effectiveness of the activated charcoal filtration system. And I suspect, based on what's going on in Newburgh, that if it is a successful operation, that eventually, that may be an application towards our Butterhill wells. So I had asked for that information. So far, it has not been published on the website. It should go on the website, made available to the general public as we're drinking this water. Okay? And I guess the other thing that I'm not really sure of is how we utilize that Kroll well. Does it go into the general system and blend with the Catskill Aqueduct water, or does it just go out to a district individually and it's isolated from everybody else? So there's a number of questions, but I'm still interested in what the test results are, certified test results, and as well as the custody of sample taking, that it's legitimate, that it came from where they said it was supposed to come from. And if that information could be published on the website, that would certainly be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
I second.
One last thing too, since you're mentioning the website. I mean, I'm very happy that we've redesigned and improving the website. But we need to fix the links, because when you go to the planning board, when you go to the zoning board, things do not take you to where you're trying to see the documents. You sit there in la la land until your computer crashes. Yet if you go to the bottom of the page, the first page of your web page, and you click there, then you get to everybody's what's published. Okay? It's a simple thing to fix, but it's something I've been bringing up now for almost a year. It doesn't take a technician that long to drop a code in. And since we redesigned the whole website, it would seem to me we could fix those two items so people can actually find out what's going on and see these documents. Just a constructive comment.
Thank you. Mr. Lake? Yes.
Hi, so just one more question. In July, you received a 98 complainants that were filed in regard to the water, the PFOS. And when I asked about that before, I mentioned that there was something in Times Herald records that said the town needed to make a decision within 90 days. So my question is, I'm wondering, I believe that was October, the beginning of October. Is that something in terms of a decision that the board needs to vote on, or is that something that the town would have no public knowledge of if you settled and it cost the town, the taxpayers, X amount of money?
There's been no settlement, and we are fighting those cases. That I can tell you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
I
that.
said there's been no settlement, and we are fighting those cases. That I can tell you.
Okay, so in October, is that the time frame? I mean, according to the Times Herald record, it said 90 days.
I'm not sure what that was in reference
Okay,
to.
I'm not
You
an
have-
attorney, that's why I'm.
You do have a certain time frame within which we need to provide plaintiff's counsel with notice that we intend to conduct what's called a 50H hearing with regard to each of those claims. That's currently being done, and the 50H hearings, obviously a number of them, I think it's actually slightly over 100, 102 or so, are being scheduled now.
Thank you for your input. I will now entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Public forum, I'm sorry, that's the town board of the town of New Windsor. Close the public forum portion of this meeting. Motion?
Move. Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Morale?
Yes.
Councilman Rickenbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Windsor?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deputy Supervisor Myers?
Yes. of the town board of the town of Windsor, adjourning the town board meeting at 8:25. Motion?
Oh, second. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.